Welcome back to the channel and the Caribbean, which I love. I've been living in Puerto Rico for about 2 years now. I thought I'd take a little adventure off the island, a 7-day cruise on Royal Caribbean's Voyager of the Seas. But what's so special about this particular itinerary is it visits all the Dutch Caribbean islands: St. Maarten, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao. It's an amazing itinerary. I'd like to show you the highlights of these islands, why I think this is the best route around the Caribbean, and then we're gonna highlight things to do while you're on these islands. So stick around, and I hope you enjoy. Welcome to beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico. We are currently celebrating 500 years as a city, and San Juan is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with the Great Wall of China, Stonehenge, and Taj Mahal. Today we are boarding Royal Caribbean's Voyager of the Seas. This ship had its maiden voyage in 1999 and at the time was the largest cruise ship in the world. Also the first cruise ship with an ice skating rink and a rock climbing wall. She's over 1,000 feet long and 120 feet wide at the beam. She holds 3,600 passengers and 1,200 crew members. Voyager of the Seas had a refit in 2019. And also some upgrades in 2020. So the ship is mostly brand new and beautiful. Voyager of the Seas has 15 decks, a 3-story main dining room, which has complimentary breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also, of course, the Windjammer Cafe on the 11th deck, which has multiple meals throughout the day in a buffet style. Also right outside of the Windjammer Cafe, as you enter the pool, they have complimentary soft serve ice cream. Also on this deck, multiple pools and hot tubs, including an adults only solarium, all with pool bars. Just above this on the 12th deck, the spa and fitness center. There's also an arcade and social lounge for kids and teenagers, miniature golf, a rock climbing wall, the sports court, flow rider, and a water slide. Inside the ship and the Royal Promenade has several shops, cafes, and bars. There's also Chops Grill and a sushi restaurant. There's the casino and an art gallery. The staterooms were very nice, and on this particular cruise we had an inside cabin. Nothing special, but very comfortable, and the staff service was amazing. My favorite spot on the ship was on deck 4. Right outside, port and starboard side where the lifeboats are. If you move forward and up some stairs, then you will come to the helipad, which is a great view. It can be a little windy up there, but amazing view when you're arriving or leaving a port. After an amazing first night on the ship, the following morning we woke up early as we were arriving to Philipsburg, St. Maarten. Philipsburg is on the south side of the island and is the Dutch side of the island. However, on the north side of the island, they also have the French side of St. Maarten. So we hired a driver to take us around the island, saw all the coastline, the beautiful beaches. As we circled around the island, we started off quickly into the French side of the island As we passed beautiful beaches, clear blue water, there was one part where you could see St. Bart in the distance. There's also a ferry that runs from the island to St. Bart. When we arrived in Marigot, which is the French city on St. Martin, we were very impressed how beautiful, how clean it was. We had a nice lunch in a French cafe. I was surprised that the people that worked in the cafe actually only spoke French, which I was very impressed that they've held on to this culture. And we of course paid in euros. I would say the most famous beach on St. Martin on the Dutch side is Maho Bay. This is where the flights coming in and out of the airport land right over the beach, and everyone gathers. There's signs posted there to be careful that the jet blast from aircraft taking off can blow you back into the ocean. As we returned into Philipsburg, we shopped at some of the stores there and were greeted by a steel drum, calypso, and reggae duo on the cruise ship dock, and had some cocktails, headed back on the boat. Very nice evening with the usual dinner in the main dining room, and spent the next day just lounging around the boat on a fun day at sea. The following day, we arrived in Aruba, which, in my opinion, was my favorite island that we visited. The cruise ship port was very nice, a lot of things to do. They had some stores along the waterfront and kiosks, plenty of places for drinks and food. They had a trolley system that took you into the town, these quaint old Dutch trolleys. Riding around town on the trolley gave us a great opportunity to view some of the Dutch colonial architecture. Most of the Caribbean is heavily Spanish influenced in their architecture, and although there is some Spanish influence here as well, the greater influence is the Dutch architecture. So really beautiful, very similar to what you might see in Amsterdam or Holland, anywhere around the Netherlands, but with a Caribbean twist. Located right on the waterfront near the cruise ship port was also the Atlantis Submarine Company. This submarine takes visitors down 135 feet to the ocean floor and actually touches the bottom. We went out on a ferry to the submarine, boarded, and first started off gradually descending, viewing the beautiful coral reef, amazing reef there, tropical fish, we saw an octopus, and then past two shipwrecks as well, finally reaching the 135-foot depth, which was the ocean floor, and nothing but sand, but was actually very beautiful, very desolate, very quiet. The submarine actually touched the bottom, and you could feel that inside. We then ascended back to the top, an amazing trip, well worth it. I think it was $100 per person, and one of the coolest things I have ever done in my life. I recently received my open water scuba dive certification, and I've snorkeled many places from Belize, Cayman Islands, obviously Puerto Rico, and this was amazing, especially if you don't like getting in the water. However, I will mention that the ocean temperature in this part of the world is typically above 80 degrees year-round. As our day wrapped up in beautiful Aruba, I passed by a cigar shop to pick up a Cuban cigar. Since this is not part of the United States, Cuban cigars are readily available across all the Dutch islands. We had dinner at Lucy's Retired Surfer Bar, also right there on the waterfront. Great place, great drinks, very nice. Service was amazing, and the food was amazing as well. Great night right on the coast of Aruba, overlooking the harbor and the cruise ship. The next morning, we woke up and we were in Curaçao. This particular cruise ship port was part of the old fort on the island. So as soon as you come off the boat, you're surrounded by old cannons and fortress walls. As you make your way towards the inlet, where there's a bridge to cross over into Old Town Curaçao, this bridge is actually a moving, floating bridge. It opens up for ships to come in and out of the harbor, and it's quite an interesting and unique bridge. While the bridge is open, they also offer a ferry service from one side of the inlet to the other. So as the bridge was opening, sometimes it stays open for quite some time while they're waiting for ships to come in and out. So it's a good opportunity to jump on the ferry, cross over into Old Town Curaçao. Again, like all the Dutch Caribbean islands, the architecture here is amazing. There's lots of shops and food to enjoy. I also recommend passing by the Chi-Chi shop, a local artist that makes these amazing sculptures island-wide. An expression they use here on the islands is bibadushi, which means to live the sweet life, live well. So if you're on these islands, don't forget bibadushi. Our final stop on this amazing 7-day trip around the Dutch Caribbean was Bonaire. An amazing island, great stop to wrap up because it's very natural, has a lot of great landscapes and places to explore. I started my day off with a snorkel trip aboard a catamaran. Amazing trip out to a natural marine sanctuary. The reef was in very good shape. Saw a lot of tropical fish. I also enjoy being on a catamaran. The crew was very nice. They were all Dutch, and they also served a very nicely crafted rum punch after snorkeling. So that's how we spent our return back to the ship, sailing the beautiful waters along the coastline between Klein Bonaire Island and the mainland Bonaire. We then hired a driver to take us around the south part of the island, the Salt Flats. So here on the island, like many Caribbean islands, including Puerto Rico, they mine salt, sea salt. So as we drove around, we saw protected pink flamingos. We passed by the lighthouse on the southern part of the island, which was beautiful. As we made our way around, beautiful beaches. There were dive locations all around the island where you could just walk in with your scuba gear, and at each location it shows you where to enter and exit the water so that you do not affect the coral reef and marine life in that area. We passed the Salt Mountains, which is where they harvest the sea salt before shipping it out. We saw the slave huts from where they housed the slaves that worked in the salt flats. A great history lesson from our driver. And a final stop at a food truck with a beautiful view. You could see our cruise ship back in the distance. At the end of our tour, before the driver took us back to the ship, he told us he wanted to take us to a very special place. He drove up to the top of the hill and showed us an amazing panoramic view of the entire island. We then spent the final day, another fun day at sea, enjoying a beautiful day in the Caribbean. The following morning we woke up and we were back in beautiful San Juan. We departed the ship and headed back for home. Of course, there are amazing things to do around San Juan. If you'd like to learn more about some of the great places both in the San Juan metro area as well as the rest of the island, I do have several videos of different places. Some beaches, yes, because Puerto Rico has amazing beaches around the island, but also some beautiful destinations on the inland part of the island, the mountainous region, from the rainforest to our cave system, lighthouses, just an amazing place, petroglyphs from the Taino. So check my channel and check the different videos that I have around the island of Puerto Rico. And please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also hit that like button and please check back. You can also watch more videos here.